Juneteenth is a month-long celebration. It's not just one day, because we got to celebrate that freedom.
First of all, let's start with Miss Opal. How is she doing?
She is doing well, Skip. She is doing well. She is in great spirits and looking to hurry up and get back home.
Okay. What happened?
Well, we were traveling to Cincinnati. She's being honored by the Cincinnati's Underground Railroad Freedom Center. And with their, what do they call it? International Freedom Conductors Award. And she had a slight medical emergency, and so I had to pick up as Opal number 2 and continue and receive for her, but she's doing good.
We've had literally hundreds of people respond on social media, online, not just here, but from around the country, concerned. No surprise, right?
No, I mean, when you're the nation's grandmother of Juneteenth, I mean, folks tend to want to know how their grandmother is doing.
Okay. Is she still there, on her way back?
On her way back.
Okay.
On her way back.
Okay. Let's talk Juneteenth.
Please.
What do you want people to know about this year's celebration?
Well, this marks the 50th year that my grandmother has been a part of Juneteenth in Fort Worth. So remember, it started in 1975 with that group of folks wanting to bring back celebrating really big in Juneteenth. And so from 1975 to 2025, 50 years, she has been a part of making sure that Fort Worth has celebrated Juneteenth. And we're celebrating all month long. Matter of fact, we start Saturday with her ecumenical breakfast of prayer, because remember, Juneteenth is a unifier. And it's about bringing people together so that we're stronger together. So that's at 9 o'clock at Saintsville Cathedral. Pastor Milton Pace and Shirley Pace are our hosts. And then that night, it's our Miss Juneteenth DFW pageant. And we've got 7 young ladies that have been working since January on not just, how to be in a pageant, but it's a program, an enrichment program that they've learned business skills, they've learned budgeting. Chase has been a part of, helping them to understand life, so that even if they aren't crowned Miss Juneteenth, they will always have the rich experience of growing and growing into the role and understanding why Juneteenth is important. Then there's the 15th. We've got a matinee and an evening performance of Timmy's Dance at I Am Terrell, historic I Am Terrell's Performing Center. And then we roll right into Opal's Walk, where we will be in our cultural district, and we will be celebrating on the 50-yard line of Farrington Field. And so it's 2.5 miles around the cultural district and back to Farrington Field. And then we have Empowering You, which is on the 21st at UNT Health Science Center, still in the cultural district, which is our resource fair. Because remember, Juneteenth is more than red soda water and barbecue. So when we were freed, people had to make some really hard decisions really fast with very little information. So this is about getting business information, health information, job opportunities, because we'll have a job fair, employers that are actually looking to put people to work, and making sure that people have the resources to choose, exercise those freedoms. It might be time for you to have a career change. You remember the thing with the pandemic is a lot of people got laid off. So their side hustles became their main hustles, right? But now it's taking that hobby and making it into a business. And so there's training and entrepreneurship things that are going to be happening at Empowering You. And our last event is for the young people. It's our Your Voice Unleashed. And so that is the vocational training, exposure, and fine arts. So we've got culinary, health science, and robotics and comp sci. And then they do lunch, and then we do choir, dance, and drama. And so it's a full day, 8 to 4, and it's from 6th grade to 12th graders. Totally free, going to be hosted at O.D. White High School. So Fort Worth ISD has been a great partner this year for us. So we've got Farrington, we've got O.D. Wyatt. But Juneteenth is a month-long celebration. It's not just one day, because we got to celebrate that freedom. We have wanted to elevate that freedom that Juneteenth represents to not just be a Texas thing. That's one of the things that took it so long to become a national holiday. is that for years we held it so close to the vest, or people shunned it because it was about when slaves in Texas were emancipated. But when you think about the broader picture of what Juneteenth represents as freedom for all, when it represents the fact that it's the human dignity that Juneteenth emancipation really means, I think it lifts itself out of Texas. It lifts itself out of Fort Worth to being a call internationally. Matter of fact, we have an Opal's Walk for Freedom happening in Tokyo, Japan for the second year. All right, so we have one, of course, in Los Angeles and us in Fort Worth, but freedom is a human attribute. All right, and you cannot be free if you're financially bound, if you're medically bound, if you're mentally, have all these weights on you. So it's making sure that we exercise freedom in its greatest capacity that Juneteenth represents. So it's not just chattel slavery. Freedom is the ability to be all that you're created to be. And so that can't be bottled in little Fort Worth.
Let's talk about the National Juneteenth Museum. Where is it? And are there any challenges?
Well, the greatest challenge is time. The greatest challenge is time. So we've overcome the obstacle of land. All right, so the city is voted to let us have the historic Southside Multipurpose Center. So that's a great win. Of course, they still have their commitment to us for the finances. Now it's about the program of getting people moved out of the historic Southside Community Center into their new space at Hazel Harvey Peace, and then from there to getting those people over that are there over to City Hall. So it's a moving game right now, but the museum is poised and ready to bring economic development to the historic South Side, and as well as educational programs. A really good program working with our kids, not just for history's sake, but reading and understanding, just what that freedom represents. And I love the component that's going to be the oral history part, where folks are going to be able to record great-granny telling stories. They visit, Fort Worth, and they can take that with them, right? And I just think that the ability for us to impact, not just Fort Worth, but the nation with the story of emancipation wherever it happened. I think that's the beauty of the National Juneteenth Museum. It's not about Texas. It's about celebrating May Day, all right, in Florida, and telling the stories of when emancipation rolled across. And they're correcting a lot of misinformation that we've just kind of said. Like, Texas was the last slaves freed. Well, that's not really true either. I mean, we had to do treaties with the Indians in Oklahoma in 1866. After us, June 14th of 1866, matter of fact. So we weren't the last slaves freed, but we can tell who was. And then even finding the stories of the Underground Railroad into Mexico. All right, so that those things can be brought to light. And the fact that there's still a community in Nacimiento, Mexico that celebrates Juneteenth today. So all of those stories get to be brought to the light, right? And allowing people to find themselves in the unity that Juneteenth represents. Well, and I think what's really neat about my grandmother is that this is a passion of hers that's been like a tapestry woven, in her life, right? So from experiencing, such tragedy at, 12 on the 19th of June in 1939, working for the betterment of humanity all of her life, to have Juneteenth, made a national holiday, in small part to her, making a campaign about it, to then having her house and land restored to her on Juneteenth, or close, last year, 85 years to the day almost, that they were, kicked off of their land, right? And then to keep ushering, still walking for Juneteenth's observance to mean more than just, a concert or an entertainment, right? That it becomes the tool that we need. When you look at all of those pieces and you look at the tapestry of her life, you go, yeah, that moniker is pretty well suited for you, you know, the grandmother of Juneteenth. So her thing is just making sure that we understand why Juneteenth's important, you know, why she's still walking, why she's still advocating for people to walk all across the country as a show of unity. All right, Juneteenth is more, and we need to use it as a tool that was given to us at the right time. I tell people all the time, the last 4 years, the wind has been in our sails, pushing for unity and pushing for equality. I said, these next 4, we're gonna have to roll, we have to put some elbow grease in it, just to maintain and to make any forward progress. But Juneteenth is that tool that gives us the ability to talk. It's a national holiday. It can't be rescinded. It can't be undone. And we really need to, you know, take advantage of that tool that's been given to us and do the most with it that we can. I guess because I know my grandmother and her resilience, all right, and know that there's nothing, you know, that she will not get over. Yes, I know at some point, you know, she will transition, but this isn't the time. She still has too much more to do. But a lot of folks don't know that, you know, right? They don't see her and interact with her day to day. But I think the greatest thing that they can do is to show her that her efforts were not in vain, that they understand her passion for why Juneteenth needed to become a holiday, that it did become a holiday, and they want to show her by walking with us here in Fort Worth and across the country. So our virtual walk program is allowing wherever you are, if you want to do 10 times around the high school track, if you want to do your first 2.5 miles of your 10 miles that you normally do at the gym, in recognition of Juneteenth and what Dr. Opal Lee has done, we want folks to go on their social media and post that. Let us see that. Let her see that. We're really trying to get 1.6 million folks walking for Juneteenth that we got signing the petition when we asked for them to sign the petition, right? So if she can see that support, then I believe that, you know, even at 98 years old, she'd be, you know, it's still hanging on there. It's still going. And that's the goal, is that Juneteenth isn't just a one-act show, not a one-pony show. It's a national holiday, and we have got to celebrate it like we celebrate July 4th, because as my grandmother said, what? July 4th freed the land, but Juneteenth freed the people. And we've got to celebrate freedom from the 19th of June to the 4th of July. That's the impact that they can make for me, for my grandmother to see that, you know, she touched some lives and she touched some mindsets of the young. She calls them young people. Anybody that's not 98 is a young person. You've heard her say that. But that's the goal, is that they see and remember why Juneteenth's important.